To find out why his dog looks at him all night, Dance installs a secret camera. Adopting a dog from a shelter may be one of the most fulfilling experiences of your life, but occasionally, the behavior of an acquired dog might take you by surprise, or even frighten you. The new owners of this dog were left perplexed and rather afraid when he took his previous behaviors with him to their new residence. Our couple made the decision to visit their local pound in quest of a new family member after realizing the importance of adopting a dog as opposed to purchasing one. The first dog they encountered appeared content, loving, and charming. They had no idea that he would soon start to reveal his actual nature and that they were about to get far more than they had anticipated. The new puppy appeared to be happy in his new home, but as he got to know his new family, his behavior started to alter. His owners soon discovered that he had an astonishing tendency. The dog behaved properly throughout the day, but at night he would display his terrifying weakness. The pair understood that this peculiar behavior was peculiar for a dog to have. The dog would go about his daily activities as a typical dog, but from the moment he arrived at his new house, he would wait outside the bedroom door for his owners to go to sleep. To discourage him, the spouse put in a child-proof door, but it was ineffective. Sadly, the bizarre tendency continued beyond the dog's apparent inability to comprehend that he should be sleeping on his dog bed in the adjacent room. Though it was unsettling to have the bedroom door watching over them all night, they were also worried that the dog was not getting any sleep at all. He would spend hours staring at his owners as they slept. Without fail, he would be there every night. The pair was in disbelief. They started to question why their dog was acting in such an odd way. Was their new puppy trying to tell them anything, or was his hushed nightly behavior a sign of a bigger issue? They were devastated when they received a response at last. The owners realized they had to halt the odd behavior after it persisted for a few more weeks. This poor dog was obviously not getting enough sleep if he spent the entire night glaring at his new owners from the doorway, even if he rested throughout the day. Though he appeared content to carry on with his nightly watch, his owners couldn't help but worry. However, what steps could they take to guarantee that their recently joined family member was receiving adequate sleep at night? Even though the owners let their new dog have free rein over the house during the day, they believed that it was important to keep him out of their bedroom at night. They'd owned dogs before and knew how important it was for him to have boundaries and an allocated area to sleep in. But what routine had he become accustomed to in his previous home? Could his former owner's habits have been so wildly different from their own? The couple found that the strangest part of their dog's nighttime staring habit was that it was done in complete silence. The majority of dog owners are aware that their dog often stares in order to beg for food or a treat, but this dog exhibited unusual behavior. He was content to watch his owners sleep, seemingly not needing anything from them. As the evenings passed and he became increasingly uneasy, the pair were more committed than ever to breaking his unsettling habit. Finally, losing all patience, the pair installed covert cameras in the bedroom. For the remainder of the night, they had to find out what their dog was up to. Sadly, not much fresh information could be extracted from the video. The dog kept staring at them as they slept, just as they had expected. He watched them for hours without moving or making any noise. He would occasionally appear to drop off for a few minutes, but then he would start to wake up and resume his frightening nighttime vigil from the bedroom door. However, the question persisted. Why? The dog continued to stay watch despite the couple's best efforts, including closing the bedroom door at night. His owners had guessed this all along, but they were at a loss for options. Is it possible that this unfortunate canine was overly protective of his former owners? If not, where did he discover this odd behavior? The solution they discovered was unexpected and depressing. Now the owners of the dog were getting frantic. They looked into every avenue. They switched the brand of food and treats they were giving the dog since they believed that his diet might not be optimal. They purchased him a new, more comfortable bed when that failed. Naturally, though, that also didn't appear to work. Their dog would not stop his midnight habit no matter what they did, until one day something unexpected finally stopped it. The couple started to believe that their new puppy wasn't weary enough, which was why he wasn't sleeping through the night. In an attempt to wear him out, they decided to play with him and go on longer walks with him during the day. When it was time for bed, he appeared to be sufficiently exhausted to want to sleep. His owners believed they had finally figured out what was causing his uncomfortable habit of going out at night. Even though he was exhausted, he persisted in staring them down while they slept that night. At that point, they started to wonder if their dog's peculiar pattern involved something more. It seems sense that his new owners were concerned about their new family member. They made the decision to take him to the veterinarian for a checkup, but the workers at the shelter had not told them of any health issues. Could the reason this dog was abandoned in the first place have been related to an underlying health condition? Did they know something about their dog that the previous owners had failed to notice or address? The veterinarian examined him and was perplexed. Luckily, he seemed to be in excellent health. Not only had all symptoms of disease been ruled out, but he was also cheerful, responsive, and remarkably obedient for his age. His owners had no idea what to do with him. What was the reason for their dog's peculiar conduct, if it wasn't an undiagnosed medical condition? Would they ever find the solutions they needed at that point? They made the decision to go see the dog's original pound. However, the tale that was related to them when they got there really caught them off guard. If the veterinarian was unable to provide them with answers, the couple reasoned that perhaps the pound from where they had acquired their dog might. As it happened, their sad dog arrived with a narrative that would satisfactorily explain his peculiar conduct. They were devastated to learn what the pound employees had to say about him. The former owners of the dog had made the decision that they were expecting their first kid and couldn't manage the responsibilities of taking care of a dog. When they found out they were expecting a child, they had given him up. They gently packed him into the car and dropped him off at the pound while he was asleep, saving both the dog and his prior owners some heartache. However, this would turn out to be a very bad choice. The poor puppy had a terrible time being taken to the pound while he was asleep. He had felt secure and cozy in his house with the people he loved when he had gone to bed the night before. He woke up to find himself in a cage at the pound with strangers and other pets. The poor puppy could not take that at all. It seemed sense that the dog would be afraid and cautious. He simply couldn't comprehend what had happened to the people he'd known and loved his whole life, now that his owners were no longer in his presence. Although the pound staff was aware that a dog with such loyalty and obedience would soon find a new home, they hoped that his prior experiences wouldn't cause problems with trust with his new owners, whomever they may be. His new owners realized they needed to be especially gentle and sensitive toward him after learning of his traumatic past. They were aware that dogs and people experience comparable emotions, therefore they had to use every effort to win back his faith in mankind. They also knew that canines and human toddlers had the same emotional intelligence. This implies that a dog will do their utmost to comprehend and respond to their surroundings. Was this dog, nevertheless, ready to put the past behind him and go on? The couple gave in and let their new puppy to sleep in the bedroom with them, demonstrating to him that he didn't have to fear about them leaving him alone in the middle of the night. It turned out that the dog slept earlier and earlier at night, despite his initial reluctance to lie down and sleep in favor of watching his owners. Would his new regimen suffice to comfort him, though, or had his previous tragedy permanently altered him? His owners noticed a significant change in their rescue dog's behavior after only a few weeks. He started to get used to his new schedule as they kept letting him spend the night in their room. Would his new, uncomfortable behaviors eventually take the place of the old ones? Would the trauma he'd experienced in the past allow him to adapt to his new home? His new owners were first worried that allowing the dog to sleep in their bedroom might cause him to become less obedient. They had never let any of their prior dogs sleep in their bedroom and had heard professional dog trainers discuss the issue. But as time went on, it was clear that welcoming him into their bed would be the finest choice they had ever made. The dog was prepared to defend his new owners as he was near enough to detect any movement throughout the night. However, he was still near enough to them to feel at ease and catch some much-needed sleep. Had he, however, at last turned the corner? The change the pup had sorely needed was to have their new puppy sleep with them in the bedroom. He now slumbers comfortably, safe in the knowledge that he is near his people. He has stopped observing them as they sleep, which used to be frightening. This narrative just serves to highlight how highly perceptive dogs are to their surroundings and how emotionally intelligent they are. Dogs require special attention and a caring environment, and our need for them is equal to ours.